Well, my father died when I was 20, and he started the bookstore in 1932. I was a very insecure young man who had a lot to learn about communications in general, but Cambridge was different. It was rich. It just had so much going on, and it was lively, and it was international. You could just as easily hear people talking French or German or even Hebrew on the streets. That just felt so good to me. It was really an opportunity to grow up. I think that's why Harvard Square has always meant to me. It touched me. But I found that I had a great memory for books, titles, and subjects, and I really wanted to please people. I knew that, I guess it's instinctive, that if you're going to run a business where people who I could relate to, I found that a good smile, and people who really showed that they cared. And first I began with relating to the people who were the employees, and found that was just great to me because they really sort of took the place of my parents, because the store was primarily a used textbook store. And so our customers were students. Making students feel as though they mattered was a start. And I met another bookseller, and Bill and I became good friends. Our idea was really amazing. I mean, you can actually take a book off the shelf and sit down and read it and have lunch and not have to pay for it. Isn't that going to ruin the books? Well, a few books might have gotten damaged in the 15 years that I ran the Harvard Bookstore Cafe, but it was just a really fun place to be. Not only was it great for bringing people together, sitting at one table to talk to somebody at the table next to you, you already had a book in front of you, there was a conversation starter. This relationship that we created with the Boston Public Library was just fantastic. And the author would speak for 45 minutes, and then somebody from the library would say, if you'd like to meet the author and buy a copy of the book, you can just go around the corner to the Harvard Bookstore Cafe, meet the author, talk to them over a glass of wine. We'd serve free wine. The president of the library at the time called it the jewel in the crown of the library's outreach program for the books that they had in the library. When Borders and Barnes & Noble started opening up 25,000 square foot bookstores around the perimeter of cities, bookstores across the country began to really hurt. Those bookstores really sucked out the lifeblood of the centers. We believed that there is a core of people who care about local business enough not to abandon them just because there's a big bookstore in the suburbs or even another bookstore, bigger bookstore downtown. We got it started, and we started Cambridge Local First. And we're trying in Harvard Square to really keep the locally owned businesses against a real tide against it. And that tide is huge organizations buying property that had been owned by the same owners for over 100 years. It's very different when you have a local owner who has some investment in the community, cares about his reputation. It has to be nurtured. I think that cultural organizations have to be supported by the universities, and because they're the ones that have the resources to support them, they give them space for events. Harvard owns the building that Harvard Bookstore is in. So they could have chosen to raise the rent way beyond what we could pay. They haven't done that. They've been very reasonable in dealing with us. That's supported in their indirect way what the arts and what the culture has in Cambridge, because I think we all agree that Harvard Bookstore is making a contribution. Well, that's why I'm here, because there is some recognition for the fact that we're bringing something that contributes to the culture of the city, and we're doing it on a regular basis.